Skillz is a leading mobile games platform that connects players through competition, allowing them to place bets on themselves and make money as they win matches against other players. Skillz came public through a SPAC deal that started at $10 in September of 2020 and then $15 when the deal came through in December. On January 4th, Cathie Wood's ARK started buying Skillz. Then on January 11th, Citigroup upgraded Skillz to a buy rating and a $27 price target. On February 4th, big news came in. Skillz announced a huge brand deal with the NFL, pushing the stock to a new high of $39. Buyers thought there was a much bigger opportunity. They kept buying and buying, pushing the stock to its all-time high of $46 before the party ended. On March 8th, Skillz was hit by a short seller report that knocked the stock down to $23. A secondary offering by the company was the next blow. Followed by momentum sell-off in April, it didn't help that Skillz earnings didn't meet expectations. After this wild ride, Cathie Wood is back in the name, buying even more shares. So, where is Skillz going next and how can we use options to profit from it? I'll walk you through the bull case and the bear case. Then, we're going to get Felix Fry on to give us his view of the stock, and even better, he's going to show us a few different options trading ideas that you can do in Skillz. So stay tuned, you don't want to miss it. So, we have a stock that made a huge move from December 2020 to early February 2021, only to make a round trip back to the current level of $15. My name is Marco Rajenka, and I'm going to lead you through the bull points and the bear points of Skillz. Then, we're going to get Felix Fry on to give us his view on the stock, and more importantly, he's going to show us a few different options plays, no matter if you're bullish or bearish. But first, what is Skillz? Skillz was started in 2012 by a serial entrepreneur and current CEO, Andrew Paradise. Let's listen to him describe what Skillz is.
Our company, we're a B2B2C platform business. We're revolutionizing the gaming industry now as the leading mobile esports platform in the world. Our 100-year vision is to create the competition layer for the internet.
Yeah, but what does that mean?
That was exactly my question. What does that even mean? Let me make it simple, because that was a lot of buzzwords. Skillz is just like any app on your phone. Once you download the app, you can choose from any number of games in several different categories. The games are free and you can play a variety of different competitions, such as tournaments or head-to-head 1v1 games. If you choose to play for a cash prize, then there are different price levels for each game. The higher the entry cost, the higher the payout price, with some tournament prizes going as high as $1,300. It's important to note that Skillz does not own the games. They are the platform that offers the developers an audience and the wagering software. They take a commission from each game played and share those revenues with the developer. And there's a lot of them. Skillz has over 20,000 developers creating games for the platform. So, now that we know how Skillz works, let's take a look at the first bullish point. Strong growth strategy. Skillz is, no doubt, the leader in the mobile gaming competition space, with the average player spending as much as 60 minutes a day on the platform, beating giants like TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, let alone other mobile gaming companies. When looking at their numbers, we can confidently say that they are going in the right direction. Skillz has 467,000 paying monthly active users, growing 81% year over year during the last quarter. Their total monthly active users are 2.75 million. This means that 17% of them are actually paying customers. That's pretty impressive. To add to that, their revenue growth year over year is 92% and their gross margins are a staggering 95%. Compare that to Zynga's 59% and Glue Mobile's 65% gross margins, you can see that Skillz is ahead of the curve. On top of that, they have over $600 million in cash, and they have no debt. The company's primary marketing goal to increase revenue is directed at the most obvious opportunity, converting current non-paying monthly active users into paying monthly active users. Another growth opportunity comes from greater expansion into Android. While Android users grow 2 times faster than iOS users, they only represent 14% of Skillz's total revenues. The issue is that Android users can only download the app to the Skillz's website because the app is currently banned from Google Play Store for being a betting app. The company is in ongoing talks with Google, requesting re-entry on the grounds that Skillz is not a betting app since players use their own skill rather than luck. Inclusion in the Google Play Store would create a huge market opportunity for Skillz. Skillz is also looking to expand internationally, where the mobile gaming market is 4 times larger than North America, but only represents 10% of their revenues. They plan on launching their app in India later this year. The opportunity there is immense. India would increase their addressable market by 65%, growing 4 times faster than the US. Lastly, given their business model, adding ambassadors like Penn Gaming did with Dave Portnoy or Subway with Milad could dramatically increase organic growth and profitability. This leads us to the bullet point number 2. Game diversification. Part of being a great platform is having different games, genres, and attracting different people. Obviously, the NFL has one of the largest and most loyal audiences in the United States. So when Skillz announced the partnership with the NFL, the stock exploded higher. This partnership allows game developers to submit their games to be a part of the Skillz platform and have the rights to brand their name with the NFL and their logos. It's an incredible opportunity for Skillz to become mainstream. On top of that, they're also heavily invested into expanding their content library to include a wider variety of different types of games that range from first-person shooters to real-time strategy and battle royales, similar to games like Call of Duty and Fortnite. These types of games have proven to be very successful, and if Skillz is able to replicate such an experience on mobile, with the addition of a paid competition, you have a winning combination. It's also important to note the potential for a new hit game. As the platform grows and more developers join, there's an infinite potential for new games becoming hits. And if we look at the numbers, there were only 7 games with revenues of more than 1 million in 2016, while in 2020, there were 36 such games. Now, let's take a look at the third bullish point, and that is Cathie Wood and ARK following. Cathie Wood has made herself famous in the last 3 years by investing in high-growth, disruptive momentum stocks. She's constantly talking about the long-term plan, asking investors to think 5 years out. The CEO has a little bit of a longer plan, but I'll let him tell you.
You guys say you have a 100-year vision, and I mean, that sounds catchy, especially on the day of an IPO. Says all the right things, the right messaging, but what does that really mean? It made me laugh a little bit.
Well, if you think about today, we gamify video games. So in the world where we believe in the Internet of Things, we like to refer to it as the GOT, or gamification of things. And that's everything from mobile games like we do today, which is, I'd argue, the most accessible computer platform ever, to things like education and exercise applications. And to give you an example of that, think of a company like Peloton. Peloton is a computer-enabled treadmill or exercise bike. We think that devices like that over time will use one platform for competition.
100-year plan. It sounds very controversial, but if you pay attention to what the CEO said, his vision expands from mobile games into everything internet device related. He gave an example of Peloton, but the opportunities are endless. The Skillz technology could be implemented into all devices that have competition potential, making Skillz the #1 platform in that realm. With a huge addressable market and boundless potential, this disruptive technology stock caught Cathie Wood's attention. Her ARKK fund owns 15.3 million shares of Skillz, comprising 1.23% of the portfolio, and her ARK W fund owns 7.66 million shares of Skillz, comprising 2.32% of the portfolio. But it's not just Cathie Wood and the ARK funds. She has an army of retail investors who seemingly follow her every move, and Skillz is one of them. With that being said, let's take a look at the bullish points we've made before diving into the bearish arguments. Skillz has a very strong, multifaceted growth strategy. If successfully executed, their game and partnership diversification will result in breakthrough results. Long-term potential with a 100-year plan needs long-term investors. Cathie Wood's ARK fund and her following provide a tailwind of demand for the stock. Those are the main bullish points for Skillz, but let's now take a look at what the bears are saying. The bears are all over Skillz. There have been several short research reports from the likes of Wolfpack taking their shots at Skillz. These are their 3 main points. Problems with the Skillz growth plan. Let's start with their marketing and acquisition costs. These are insanely high and yet are yielding very little in return. They're spending over $206,000 in sales and marketing in each quarter per each paying customer. In Q1 2021, they spent $96.3 million, up from $46.8 million last year, and doubled their losses. Their adjusted EBITDA loss was $31.1 million in Q1, which is up from $14.6 million last year. Even worse, they didn't increase their monthly active users. So to achieve their goal of converting existing non-paying payers into payers, they had to double their marketing spend, double their losses, and fail to increase their monthly active users, which are their future paying customers. Now, let's take a closer look at their revenues. Skillz' top 3 games are Solitaire Cube, 21 Blitz, and Blackout Bingo. They made up 87% of their revenues in 2020. And remember those 20,000 developers? Those top 3 games come from only 2 developers, Tether and Big Run. But hey, it's easy to create a new hit game, right? Not really. The company even points out that only 2% of game developers reach breakthrough success. 2%! That's not a lot. And the shorts are pointing out that the Skillz games are not original. But even if they were original, the retention rates in this business are so low because most people lose their money the more they play. From discussions with game studios, 25% of new paying users churn after day 1, 75% churn after day 30, and 95% churn after day 180. And when or if a game does become successful, what's stopping the developers from leaving Skillz to launch their own paid competition platform integrated with that game? Remember, Skillz is just the platform. So with 87% of revenues coming from 3 games by 2 studios, Skillz is left vulnerable to any defections. That is risky. Don't think it could happen? Think again. Right now, Skillz is suing Avaya Games for working with Skillz to develop a game as a front to rip off the company's core technology. Since working with Skillz, Avaya Games launched its own version of many of Skillz' popular games with its own similar wagering system built in. But that's not all. Digging deeper into the revenues, you learn that Skillz is also highly dependent on the super whales. Super whales are the top 1-2% of players that are truly bringing in the most frequent and largest rakes. So in reality, Skillz has around 40,000 super monthly active users driving the majority of their revenue. Adding to that, the fact that a Skillz user currently needs a 60% win rate just to break even on their bets over time. Also, not everyone else has the same level of skill. Like in the elite sports levels, the top performers are the ones who rise to the top, win most of the competitions, and make most of the money. Skillz even acknowledges this in their How It Works video.
Just like in traditional sports, only the top 1% of gamers are good enough to compete professionally and get recognized for their talent. What about the 99% who play games every single day but will never get to earn the prizes and fame of the pros? The 99% who are desperate for more exciting gaming content to watch and follow. That's where Skillz comes in. Operation Esports for everyone. By bringing multiplayer competitions with prizes to mobile, Skillz lets anyone become a pro esports athlete.
Can everyone achieve that level of skill? Eventually, those people might get frustrated and quit because they're not accomplishing their initial goal, making money by competing against other players. That's why Skillz is focused on the huge international and Android expansion plan, says the bull. Not so fast, says the bear. The obvious problem with the Indian market is that 90% of them use Android, whose main app store has Skillz banned. And with a recent update to Google's terms, that status didn't change. The next obvious problem is the average salary being about $400 to $500 per month. So India might get Skillz more monthly active users, but when it comes to paid, the bears are very doubtful. Let's now take a look at the second bearish point. Unsustainable leadership model. The bears say the reason for their weak game performance as a whole is mostly due to the fact that they have white label games that aren't unique and can be easily replicated. There's also an argument that only the failing developers that weren't able to monetize through the tried and tested means of monetization are making games for Skillz. What are those tried and tested means of monetization? Primarily freemium models, think of Call of Duty, Warzone, and Fortnite, that are based around microtransactions along with pay-to-win games and ad-based games. What's gonna happen when a giant like Steam, Activision, or Epic Games launches their cross-platform competition project with blockbuster games that have a proven success record over decades? The CEO also states that Skillz never knows which new game might be a hit, thus making the company a lot of money. But the bears see a problem with that, because those new hits might never come, and even if they do, they might not be sustainable over the long run, creating a need for constant emergence of such games. The bears also don't like the fact that they're not in control of the game development system and have to rely on individual developers. Lastly, this NFL deal, while it's a good deal, it hasn't materialized anything yet. So what happens if it flops, and how would that impact the stock? With all of that in mind, let's take a look at the last bear argument, and that is insider selling and previous flops of similar business models. The bears love to start off with CEO's comments regarding the 100-year focus. 100 years is a long time. Seems like the CEO couldn't even wait a year. He sold Skillz stock just 90 days into being a public company. Maybe he knows what history tells us. If we look at previous and existing skill-based gaming competition companies, we can quickly see that it's not either a new or a very successful business model. Cashplay launched at a similar time as Skillz. The business model was virtually identical. The company closed down shop after they reached 3 million monthly active users because they were unable to meaningfully improve user attrition and crossplay activity or reduce their dependence on the top titles. World Winner was founded in 1999. It was launched as the first online cash-based skill gaming platform with integration to various popular gaming portals like Yahoo and Shockwave. Since then, the company has changed hands multiple times and was sold to GSN in 2007. It's still operating the standard set of skill game apps that Skillz also has, such as Solitaire, Scrabble, etc. Amazon Game On tried duplicating this model back in 2018 with its Game On API offering that allowed for developers to enable matchmaking, except it offered prizes and items from Amazon instead of cash to avoid KYC rules. Since then, they shuttered this offering and pivoted the segment to be a video sharing app for in-game clips. If Amazon decides something isn't worth pursuing, that speaks volumes. Miniclip is a popular giant in the space of browser games. They launched a skill-based cash site back in 2004 using GameTrust. Not long after, they realized that the free-to-play model was the better alternative. They found that the user retention was low and that paid user conversions were fleeting. Will Skillz be different? Maybe. But you have a CEO who's a lifelong entrepreneur who created 5 different companies and exited 3 successfully as a founder, telling you to think in terms of 100 years when he's already selling after 90 days. Will he stick around to accomplish the vision or simply move on to the next big thing? Time will tell. Now that we covered both bullish and the bearish points, let's quickly compare them before we move on to the trade ideas. Bullish point number 1 is a strong growth strategy. Point number 2 is a solid game diversification plan. Bullish point number 3 in Skillz is Cathie Wood's support that brings a strong following in the name. Now the 3 bearish points are: number 1, there are obvious problems with Skillz' growth plan. Point number 2 is a potentially unsustainable leadership model. And the last point is insider selling and a history of failure of companies similar to Skillz. Those were the bullish and the bearish points of Skillz. So now let's get Felix Fry on to show us a few different trading ideas that we can do if we're either bearish or bullish, and if we're either thinking short-term or long-term, so stick around, the best is about to come.
Hey Marco, thank you. That was awesome. Now let me show you 2 trades, a bullish and a bearish trade I thought about while watching your presentation. First, let's start with the charts. Here we're going to frame the risk-reward by finding pivotal levels in the stock over the last 5 months. We'll start here at the high near 46, and then look down right about $32, using that initial level where there was a gap higher. The stock did a little dance there on the way down before dropping through and then resisting this move higher a couple of weeks later. The next level is here around $22. You can see a big fight between buyers and sellers in December, a breakdown in late March, and after a sharp correction in April, it was rejected right near $22. Now $24 could also be an interesting level, with a few areas of support and resistance. At the bottom there, we'll highlight where it all started near 12.5. You can see the buyers have stepped in twice here over the last month. Again, I'll add this line as well, as there seems to be some swings in December and April. Since the moves from the high to the low have been quite large, I want to hone in on just the last 3 months. It will have similar levels, but we can be a bit more specific. We could start with this 23 level, where there was support, and then a breakdown. That level turns into resistance. We will add our 22 line here. Then 17, again some support here after the drop, then a breakdown. $17 seems to also be giving Skillz some problems in May. Here's the 12.5 level, and I show you the 2 low prices where buyers stepped in. It's also worth noting the tremendous amount of volume in this pocket here. Approximately 374 million shares traded over 5 days, taking the stock from $12.40 to almost $22. Now with all that volume in that range, it's likely to cause an overhang of supply, especially above these levels here. So given this framework, I thought of 2 options plays, one for the bulls and one for the bears. Let's start with the bullish play. I am looking at August 20th expiration and focusing on the call side. I picked that expiration so I could get the next earnings in early August. While I think the stock goes higher, keep in mind that there is likely a lot of resistance starting at the 22-23 range. Note that the August 17.5 calls cost $2.17, but the risk-reward break-even level is $24.45. In order to buy this option, I would need a target stock price much higher, which makes me hesitate a bit. So I need to get a little tricky here. What I'm going to do is sell an option to take in premium, but I'm not going to sell August. I want to sell the July options that have no earnings. Here, I'll choose the July 16th 22.5 calls and sell those at 62 cents. This makes my spread, or the amount I pay, equal to $1.55. Now what does this look like? Let's take a look at the chart again. I cut it down to make some room, but we still have our resistance levels we did earlier. Here's the trade. And visually you can see that up until July expiration, I am playing a range between $17.5 and $22.5. The max value of our trade up until July expiration is $5. I pay $1.55 right now, which means my max profit would be $3.45. This equates to a 223% ROI. Now, if the stock is not above 22.5 by July expiration, then it disappears along with the barrier that was limiting my profits. So after July expiration, I only have the August options and leave myself open to unlimited profit potential to the upside. Now let's take a look at the bearish trade. If I think it goes lower, I'm going to focus on the puts. Same August expiration because I want to see Skillz report their numbers. I like the August 12.5 puts for $1.50. Let's remind ourselves of the chart one more time. 12.5 is a clear level where the buyers have stepped in. This enormous surge in volume was bullish, but that also means there's risk if Skillz hits 12.5 a third time within a couple of months. The selling there can overwhelm that price point. This could easily knock the stock down below $10. Now notice the risk-reward break-even price here around $9. This means we need to be thinking lower, closer to $8. At $8, the put value would be close to $4.50, and the profit would be around $3. That's a 200% ROI to the downside. Keep in mind, we have to think the stock gets close to $8. So there you have it, Marco, a bullish and bearish trade. I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Felix, for giving us a few different options trades to consider in Skillz. Now, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And if you'd like to see more stock analysis just like this one, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell notifications. Also, I would love to hear your thoughts on Skillz, and I'd like you to add to the story. Comment your thoughts and opinions on the bullish and bearish cases we've made, and tell us, where do you think Skillz is going next? Options Geek also has a comprehensive options education program called 3 Steps to Profit that teaches you how to trade options like the top 1%. As a bonus, you also get 1 month free of Felix Fry's Winning Picks Premium ideas, so make sure you check the link in the description. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.